Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Deck Tech for Decks. Does Marneus Calgar have the most potential to generate the most value out of these 40k commanders? That's what I asked myself while I was building this deck. And honestly, he's a contender. Guys, if we build his ramp a certain way using treasure tokens, we'll be able to draw cards while ramping and generate a ton of value that way. So let's get into how we're going to do that. First off, I just wanted to start with this combo right quick. We've got Anointed Processions and Ashnod's Altar. This goes infinite, right? So you activate your commander's ability, create 4 tokens, sack them for 8 mana using Ashnod's Altar, and then you'll net 2 mana after that. That'll give you infinite die triggers, infinite tokens. Hey, if you're not into infinite combos, I get it. I would take out Ashnod's Altar and leave in Anointed Processions, right? Scratch that. You'll have to take out Anointed Processions because Pitiless Plunderer also goes infinite, right? So you got Pitiless Plunderer and Anointed Processions on the battlefield with your commander. Create 4 tokens, sack those tokens, and then you'll, generate 8 treasure tokens. That's pretty broken. And this is where I'm talking about with the mana, because that's going to draw you cards also. So you'll draw your deck, have infinite mana, and have infinite tokens. Little broken. Alright, I've teased you guys enough. Let's get into the meatier part of the deck. We have Revel in Riches. Whenever our tokens, or whenever our opponent's creatures die, we're going to draw a card off of that and create a treasure token. This is going to be the theme of the ramp, right? So we have Smothering Tithe. This one's insane. Because whenever they draw a card, we're going to draw the card and create a token. So it's like, whatever you're doing over there, I'm going to do a little bit better, right? That's Smothering Tithe's insane in this deck. Grim Herling. This one, again, we're going to create those tokens. We're going to be drawing cards off of that. And we can remove creatures with it. So this one hits all 3 categories. Pretty good. See what I'm talking about? This value train just keeps on going. Then we've got the Golden Throne. The first ability, not that great. But we get to create 3 mana. I'm joking. That's pretty. This card's pretty insane. And then Keeper of Accord does exactly what we want to do, right? We'll create tokens whenever we're behind, and we'll ramp whenever we're behind. So this is just in the deck to make sure that we're not getting behind, right? Which is important to think about. We then have the Signets, because it's very valuable and also Soul Ring. Alright, let's get into the card draw. We have Commissioner Sovereign Reign. This guy's perfect in the deck. We're going to attack with a lot of tokens. Everybody's going to lose a lot of life. And we have that option to draw the card, which is always usable. And it's very cheap, right? We then have Vanguard Suppressor. This one, we got that repeatable card draw. And we have the card draw whenever it enters the battlefield if we use its squad ability. Skull Clamp. Amazing in the deck, basically a staple to put in any token deck. The value we get off of this is insane. Reconnaissance Mission, we're going to have a large board state. We're going to draw a lot of cards off of this if everything's going well. Eloise Nephilim Sleuth. This basically reads with your commander out, whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. That's really broken. They've been very careful not to make it to where whenever a token dies, you draw the card. And this in this deck breaks it. Not only that, it's going to give you, you're going to investigate, which is going to give you the option to then draw more cards. Really good in the deck. Alright guys, let's talk about Nader Kraken. This guy, whenever you draw a card, just pay 1, you create a token, right? Well, then your commander's going to draw you a card. So then go ahead and pay the other one. This one also goes infinite, right? You just add Ashnod's Altar to this and you're off to the races. You basically need to take Ashnod's Altar and Anointed Processions out of this deck if you don't want to create any infinite combos. Because, like I said, this guy just generates a lot of value. Anytime they put generic mana cost on a commander, he goes infinite really easily, especially if it creates tokens. It doesn't matter that it's 6 mana. We can reduce that. We can mitigate it, right? We can add Anointed Processions in and you get more value out of it. So you basically need to get rid of those 2 cards if you do not want infinite combos. But I'm all about it if it makes the deck more efficient, right? And all of these cards are really good in the deck. only by themselves. And that's my criteria for adding stuff that goes infinite into the deck, right? I don't want a piece of the infinite combo to be useless. We then have Battle Angels of Tyre. This has the potential to draw you 3 cards. So you attack with them and you create the tokens because of Myriad. Well, that's going to draw you a card. Then you'll draw the card if an opponent has more cards in their hand than you. Unlikely, but it happens, right? And then we'll create that treasure token, maybe, and you'll draw another card. Like I said, potential, but this card's going to be really good in the deck regardless. Solemn Simulacrum, just the solid robot. We do have some recursion in the deck to bring them back, and we do want creatures dying in the deck, so sad robot, he's in here. Finally, a card I did not know was really broken until I played it in one of my games. Toxrill the Corrosive. You ever read a card and you're like, I understand that's what it does, and then it does what it does, and you're like, no, that should not be a thing. This is one of those cards. It will wipe the board if it stays around a turn cycle. And then you're just going to create a lot of tokens off of it, and then you're going to be able to draw a lot of cards. Cherokee Genesis Engine. This is literally 1 mana, draw 3 cards. Yes, you'll have to discard one of those, but you've got an 8/8 body and a token. So this is definitely going to be pretty good in the deck. Alright, let's end it with a card that does everything. We have Black Market Connections. You want to draw a card? Yes. You want to create a treasure token? Yes, please. And how about a creature token with that? This card does everything the deck wants to do. Notably, I think your commander's only going to trigger once off of this, since the treasure token and creature token enter at the same time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but still, this deck's amazing in the deck. Alright guys, our commander is a key piece in this deck for it to be really good and generate that value, so we're going to have to protect him. We've got Bastion Protector. This is going to give him +2/+2 and indestructible. So this guy's going to be hitting like a truck, right? Because he's got double strike, he's going to be hitting your opponents for 10. Vexilus. This guy's going to give him protection from everything, so that big guy's going to be unblockable and unkillable. We then have Flawless Maneuver. This just makes it to where if we're all tapped out and our opponent tries anything funny, we're going to be okay. Finally, Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves, because they're effective and cheap. Alright guys, I've made you wait long enough. Let's get into how we're going to make this board massive. We've got Illusionist Bracers. This is just going to double up on your commander's ability every time you activate it. 6 mana for 2 sounds pretty terrible, but 6 mana for 4, we're getting there. Martial Coup, Secure the Waste, and Horn of Valhalla. These 3 cards have no ceiling. You know, the amount of mana we got is how big we can make our board. I like it like that because we're going to be creating a lot of those treasure tokens, right? So we have the potential to have a ton of mana. Not only that, but Horn of Valhalla is going to make our commander massive. And again, this guy's got double strike, so look out. Thalissa, Revenant Medium. This one's just going to make it to where we create tokens at the end of our end step equal to the amount we made this turn. We create a lot of tokens in this deck, so she's got potential. Luminarch Ascensions, I do not think it's going to be hard to get this online, especially with the amount of blockers we're going to have. God Eternal Oketra. Hear me out. This one, we've got a lot of creature cards in our deck, right? Now, every time we cast a creature spell, we're going to be drawing a card and creating a 4/4 token. I'm into that. Elendra the Dusk Rose. This one's kind of board wipe protection, right? Because as long as we have a sack outlet on the battlefield, anytime someone tries to board wipe, we'll sack everything. Elendra's gonna get really big, she'll die, and then we'll have an instant board state. Chasm Skulker, I hope no one's playing blue, because if you are, you're not gonna last long. We're gonna be drawing a lot of cards, so this guy's gonna get massive fast, and then when he dies, you have not solved the problem. You've got little skulkers everywhere. Ink Shield, you know, leave the mana open, pretend you're going to activate your commander's ability. When someone swings at you, activate it, and boom, instant board state. If no one swings at you, just activate your commander's ability, right? And then Spawning Pit. This card's insane in the deck, right? Because it basically turns into 1 mana, draw a card. You sack some tokens, get some counters, 1 mana, draw a card. Really good. Alright, moving into the bulk of the deck, we have Sanguinary Priest. It's got lifelink, so we're going to be gaining a lot of life while we're killing our opponents. Who doesn't like that? Zulaport Cutthroat, same thing. All of our opponents just taking damage. Cruel Celebrant. Corpse Knight, all of these, same thing, right? We're just going to be creating a lot of tokens, and while they're dying, entering the battlefield, our opponents are just going to be withering away to nothing. We have Agent of the Iron Throne, same scenario, right? But this one works on our treasure tokens, which again, we are going to be creating a lot of. The Seer, just a very efficient sack outlet, right? It lets you scry, don't knock it, right? Because scry is a lot more valuable than people think. People just want that card, but being able to throw that card to the bottom, that's just as valuable. Well, not just as valuable, but you know what I mean. Ultramarines Honor Guard. Guys, we're going to go ahead and squad this up for a lot to make our creatures massive, right? Hopefully, that's the plan. Celestine the Living Saint. This one's pretty good. We have potential to gain a lot of life in this deck, and it's going to give us some stuff from the graveyard. Sisters Hospitaller. This one, let our commander die, bring them back with her. That commander tax can get racked up because people are going to be trying to get rid of him. Cathar's Crusade. This has the potential to create not only a massive board state, but a very tall one, right? So every time our tokens enter the battlefield, we're just getting bigger and bigger. Training Grounds. This one also goes infinite with Ashnod's Altar. Surprise, surprise, right? You create 4 tokens, sack them, get 4 mana. Notably, it just creates infinite die triggers. You don't get infinite tokens or mana, but it is a loop, right? Agadim's Awakening and Field of the Dead. These are 2 lands that are absolutely insane in the deck. Agadim's Awakening, we have a lot of low to the ground creatures that we can just bring back for a lot or not that much mana. And then Field of the Dead is basically you drawing a card every time you play a land card. That's pretty effective. Let's end it off with the removal. We've got Void Rend, destroys permanent. I went like the permanent route with this deck because we're going wide, so we should be able to have chump blockers and whatnot. So I think the permanents are going to be our biggest issue with this deck. Anguished Unmaking, again, gets rid of a permanent. Generous Gift, permanent. Mortify, it gives you a wide range, but not all permanents. Swan Song, just to protect our commander. Dictate of Erebos, this one's insane, right? Because it's like, you don't want to get rid of my board because I'll get rid of your board first, and on top of that, you get all the die triggers. Butcher of Malakir, same thing, right? People are not going to want to kill your creatures. Austere Command, this gives us a lot of options to get rid of a lot of things. And then Fell the Mighty, we can one-side board wipe with this basically. Our commander is not, it does not have that much power even though he hits like a truck, so it's perfect in the deck. Lastly, we have Space Marine Devastator. This guy has the potential to get rid of all of our problems, and we like that. Alright guys, that's going to bring this deck tech to an end. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. It really helps me out. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, hopefully by the end of the year. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you later.